if you are a privately held company getting ready to do a divestiture, whether it's a carve-out divestiture or a wholesale divestiture, one of the things we have conversations about all the time is how often a set of audited financial statements is still wrong. And well, and wrong can be loosely defined, but in the deal terminology, the purpose of an audit, the purpose of any audit, is not just for valuing that company in an M&A transaction, and especially when you get down to a privately held company, the audit is done under a different purpose than making sure that whoever's buying this understands how to value this company. And the procedures that are done at a different level and for a different reason. Therefore, when we get involved in private company transactions, it's more likely than not that we're going to find adjustments to the historical financial statements, true like accounting adjustments, not just deal adjustments or pro formas, management adjustments, but things that really they got wrong and that the auditors just simply didn't catch. You could, rightly or wrongly, sometimes it's, fair that they didn't catch it. Sometimes they should have. But the reality is we almost always find something they missed. And so one of the tactical takeaways, I know we talked about wanting to work those throughout this discussion. One of the tactical takeaways that I have and something that I normally bring up, because this almost always comes up, especially if you're dealing with privately held businesses. Well, we've got audits. Can't we just rely on those? And the answer is unequivocally no, you can't. It's not good enough. Done for a different purpose, and we almost always find things that auditors miss. So that's a real important piece of this. And if you also take that to the carve-out scenario for a corporate divestiture, I can't really remember too many carve-outs that I've done over the last 2 decades that we haven't had to, again, adjust historical accounting within that entity. And I'm not talking about presenting it in a different way because it hasn't ever been presented that way. This is an accounting error that we're actually having to restate historical financial information that really results back, which ties back to the parent. So technically the parent should restate for this if it's material. The trick is most of the adjustments that you find, especially if it's a large parent divesting a small entity, wouldn't be material at the consolidated level. Therefore, it's not a big issue from the parent company's perspective when you catch this. So it's not this this big issue that you have, generally speaking. It's almost fair. It's like, okay, well, this is so small compared to the consolidated parent. It's not a big deal. Where this can become a big deal, though, is in the spinoff scenario, because I've been involved in quite a few transactions because you have the same auditor issuing their opinion on the parent company financial statement, generally parent company financial statements, and then the spun off entity. And I've been in the room many a time where that audit partner, has a mandate that there will be no historical adjustments made to these financial statements that that would indicate that there was something missed in the parent company, even though it was. So that again can add all sorts of fun jumping through hoops and trying to justify certain positions and whatnot so that things aren't restated within those financials. But I can't think of a carve out where we haven't found something that should be reflected differently just from the historical financial statement perspective.